State. To another holistic aqua farm video. My name is Anissa and this is
John Bell.
And we are back. Today we're talking about record keeping for your rabbits.
Good day all. We are here again and I am back. Right, I was away for a little bit. This more would apply to people who getting into commercial aspect, and just it might trickle down a little bit onto the person that if you're raising rabbits to feed your family, and this would help the two parties.
Right, so let's get into it. Alright, so there are two different types of records that you can look at to manage your rabbitry: financial and animal records. For this video, we're only talking animal records. We're not talking about money in this video at all, right? Right? You'll probably be wondering why you'll keep records. You'll want to keep records because keeping records helps you manage your stock better. It helps you manage your inventory. If you had physical product that you were selling, you would have an inventory, you would have records of what you have in stock, how many of it you have. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that you'll be doing for your rabbits. You have an inventory of what you have. You'll be recording the performance. It will help you improve the performance of your rabbitry because you'll know like what your rabbits producing, how much they're producing.
Alright, I have a quick question. Is it that every time your rabbits kindle, they produce the same amount of babies?
It's not a hard and fast rule that every time they'll produce the same amount. Generally,
Around the same thing?
I'll be around the same thing. So when you have your records, you can see exactly how much your rabbit produces. So for example, you may have a rabbit and you would know based on your records that she produces 5 to 7 kits every kindling, right? And it's only your records will tell you that. Especially if you have more than one rabbit in your herd, you may not be able to keep track of how many each of them makes. So your records will tell that 5 to 7. So you know on average she will give me 5 kits, and that's something you can go on based on your records, right? In terms of record keeping, there are a number of different ways that you can keep records. For a simple form of keeping records, one important thing you'll need is a pen. You need a pen. And once you have a pen, a good working pen, this is a nice pen, writes very nice. Not the point. Once you have a pen, you know you could keep records, right? So there are simple things that you could use to keep records. You can use cage cards, and for cage cards, you can use something like index cards. You can buy a pack of index cards that has lines. You could drop a table on it to help you keep track, right? And you'll keep these on your rabbitry, or on your cages, in a little holder like this. You could make a little holder to keep the cards in, and you just slide it in, just like that. You could also use a notebook, simple notebook. You draw some lines, keep track of what is happening. You can also use a calendar, right? You want to get one that's large enough so it has room for you to write the dates that you breed your rabbits, when they're expected to kindle, when to put in the nest box and stuff like that. Some of the things that you'll want to record is the date you breed your rabbits. You want to do it for both the does and the box, the day that you put them to breed. And in doing that, you know what is your rabbit's gestation period, because generally the gestation period will be 31 days. You may have a rabbit that goes 32. You might have a rabbit that kindles at day 28. You may have one that is always late and kindles on day 40. On the rare occasion that could happen, right? And your records will help you keep track of that. So you want to keep track of when you breed them, and then you will know when to expect kits, and you'll also know when to put in your nest box. You'll want to put in your nest box at least 2 days before your rabbit is due to kindle, and you need to keep track of that. Now, if you're doing it for your home,
you could put in the nest box like a whole week before
no.
the expectation. Why?
If you put in the nest box before that time, she will start using it as a toilet, and then you'll have to be going in and cleaning it out.
So for a rabbit, your first rabbit, for people at home, they never had any rabbits before and are now going through this. How them would know that she 2 weeks or 2 days away from kindling, and this is their first
time with this rabbit?
That is
That is why you need to record when you breed your rabbit. So if, for example, you kindle your rabbit on the 15th of January, right? You count, if you use a calendar, if this is your first time, record it on a calendar. You kill it on the 15th of January, you mark that down on your calendar. That's the day, that is the day you bred your rabbit. And then you check 30 days. 30 days will be the 15th of February, give or take. Maybe it might be the 14th, right? Whatever the 30 days, that's when you expect that your doe would kindle. So you know what day she's expected to kindle, so you check 2 days back.
Okay.
Right, so that'll be day 13. That's when you'll put in your nest box. What you can also look at is when they are ready to start building the nest, a lot of times they will start scratching up the floor of the cage. So that's a
indication.
That's an indication, because their natural instinct, because they build burrows, their natural instinct is to dig and for them to build a nest in the ground. So that's what they will do. So that you could look at that. That's a sign as well you could look at for when it's time for them to kindle. What you also want to look at as well, if you're doing it in a commercial setting, you don't want to waste time and wait 30 days and she doesn't make it. So what you'll want to do, you'll want to test to ensure after about 2 weeks you take a test to see if she is indeed pregnant. And that's something you'll also want to keep in your records. Pregnancy tests done via palpating. Generally, you could also do it by weighing the rabbit. I don't follow that.
What about rapid response?
So yeah, so that's one example of why records will be important. So what else? What you will also want to look at to record, you'll want to record things like the sex of your rabbit. If you decide to give your rabbit a name or number, I don't name my rabbits, they assign numbers. There's a code that I give them to identify each one. Right, so the cage that you have them in, the breed of the rabbit, the sex of the rabbit, their date of birth is something that is important that you'll want to record as well too. For doe, you'll record how many kits she gave you. She generally gives per kindling. You'll record the same information for the buck as well too. You want to record.
Vanessa, all that recording is best we just go by. Where's the ID office and get an ID card for them rabbit and
right? So records are important to manage your rabbitry, especially if you are running a commercial rabbitry. You're going to have several rabbits on hand. You're not going to remember when you breed a rabbit. If you are having it for your home use, you might put one particular day for the month that you say you record. You breed a rabbit on the 15th of every month. So around the 15th of the following month, you'll expect rabbits. And if you're doing that for home use, just to put meat on your table, and you're consistent like that, you'll probably think record keeper not so important. But I think it's still important, even if it is you're running a small rabbitry. At least bare minimum, record when you breed your rabbits, the number of kits you get, and when she's expected to kindle at bare minimum, and the age of your rabbit. As in terms of using the index cards, the calendar, the notebook, you can also use a spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be Excel, but you can use a computer spreadsheet as well to have a nice soft copy of all the information. And you know, with you're not going to run out of space on a spreadsheet, so you record hundreds. You could record thousands of records. They could go as long as you want, as wide as you want. Right, but those are the manual options, and the downside of the manual option, it requires more time from you to have those records. Now, when I started, I had a redundancy in place just in case I lost my hard copy. I also have a soft copy, so I have a spreadsheet. I also record on a calendar, and I also use a notebook.
Tell us that information.
Right, because I don't want my information getting lost. Precisely, right. But it also means more work. I am recording all my information 3 times. So generally, I started to narrow it down. And what I did, I'll record first on the calendar, and I'll take once a month to update my spreadsheet, update the notebook. You don't have to do 3. You can do 1, you can do 2. If you decide to go with a calendar for backyard rabbitry, that's fine. If you're doing it as a backyard, but you're using it for sales as well too, I recommend at least employing a notebook to go along with your calendar. and or a spreadsheet. Having a spreadsheet, a soft copy is always nice, but I mean your laptop could become corrupted and you can lose your notebook and that kind of thing. That's why I have the redundancy in place. But it's more time intensive doing it that way, the manual way. Of course, there is an app for everything. So there
Have a
are
rabbit, huh?
a number of them. There are apps for rabbit breeders, so you record. So all the information that I just listed that you'll want to record, you'll want to have a record of, there's an app that records all of it. And the benefit of using the app is they're usually backed up in a cloud. So even if you lose your phone or you lose your laptop, you could still access your information once you log into your account from using the app. The downside of the app is that they cost money.
You have to pay for that. Is
Yeah, they don't
not
have.
free.
I don't know if they have any free ones now, but I remember when I was searching, I didn't see any free ones. The ones that I have.
Also, sorry to cut you across again. People must be wondering what is the name of the app.
There are a number of different apps. I don't want to call names because I don't know all of them. The most popular app that I know that breeders use is Hutch. That's just one. It's called Hutch. But there are a number of other apps. There are a few other apps that you can use as well too. Based on the app, prices will vary, and they'll be also have a varying price range depending on how much information. Some of them will have limits to how many records you could keep on file, how long you could keep the record for, and that sort of thing, depending on the price you pay. Some may have a yearly subscription, some might be monthly. You might be able to buy a lifetime subscription, but the prices vary. And depending on where you are in your rabbit breeding process, if you're doing small scale or large scale, you may not be able to afford the subscription to record the app. If you can't afford it, then you could always have your manual, right? But those are the limitations. The manual is more time consuming to record it. Having the software or the app, it's more efficient in the recording, but it requires a cost from you. Right. Another important and another nice feature of using the app is it makes it easier for you to trace the lineage of your rabbit. So if you breed rabbits and you use kits and you rear those kits for breeders, and you do that, say if you do that over the next 3 years, for example, the next 5 years, when you have a notebook, you have to go over 5 years or 3 years worth of records to be able to trace the lineage of a rabbit. If you're using software, it makes tracing the lineage of a rabbit a lot easier, because once you input the information that you took, this kid came from this rabbit over the next 5 years, that information is still there. It makes it a lot easier to be able to find the pedigree of your rabbit. So that's another benefit of using the software. Questions? No?
Yes, one. Pedigree. What?
Oh, okay. Pedigree basically is the lineage, the genetics of a rabbit, the ancestry of a rabbit. A lot of people will want to know where they came from. The pedigree is what you use to determine where a rabbit came from. So that's a record of the last 3 to 4 generations of a rabbit.
And what is the significance of that in terms of the rearing of rabbits? Because you already have the rabbit here, the rabbit making babies.
That is all that you think important, then? Alright, so that will be for breeders who producing for meat and for pets, and they selling to other people. It is important to be able to trace the lineage so that you know what you're producing. And somebody who, when we go to buy rabbits from other people, we want to know what we're getting. We don't want to buy cat and bag, as we say in Trinidad. We want to know what we purchasing. If I come for a New Zealand white rabbit, I want to know that New Zealand white, his mother and father was a New Zealand white, and his grandparents was a New Zealand white, and his great grandparents was a New Zealand white, so that I know when I put that rabbit to breed with a doe that is also a New Zealand white, I'm only going to get New Zealand whites. I should only get white rabbits. Now, if I take a rabbit that is white and somebody tells me it is a New Zealand white, and I don't have the records, and I put it to breed with a New Zealand white, and I get a black rabbit, I know that the rabbit I just purchased was not a pure breed New Zealand white. It means that rabbit was mixed with something else along the way. It may not have been this kit. It may have been his parents that was mixed with something along the way, and the genetics that is in that rabbit is still showing up when you produce a kit. I don't want a black rabbit. I bought a New Zealand white because I want my rabbits to be white. Okay? If I buy a New Zealand red, I want kits that are red. I don't want to get a white kit when I'm looking to breed New Zealand reds. Right? So, many of us would mix our breeds because we're looking to get genetic potential from the rabbit as well too. So you'll want your records. So if, for example, a common mix is to breed a New Zealand white with a Californian rabbit for the meat market, that's what we do. And we are looking for specific traits. We want good mothering ability. We want a good weight when these rabbits kindle. When they reach the market, we want them to reach the market sooner. We don't have to wait 6 months to produce 5 pounds of meat. 8 weeks is good. 4 weeks for the max. If we could get it down to 3 weeks, that would be good. Your records and knowing the genetics of the rabbit is where that comes in. Okay. You'll only know that when you have the paperwork to show it, the documentation. It don't have to be physical paper. You could use software. Once you have the documentation to show that, so you know what you get. As well too, knowing all that is going to tell you, you'll know what to expect. So if you keep if you grow a rabbit to be a breeder, you know what to expect. Her mother or his mother was produced X number of kits. You know what to expect from your rabbit. They attain this weight by this time, right? So that is something that you can depend on. Your genetics and your record keeping is what is going to help you determine that, right? When you're looking to improve the performance of your rabbitry, you're going to be looking at your records. You know how many kits she gets, the way they're accustomed getting. If she don't take care of her rabbits, you know it's time to cull, right?
Cull.
To kill, bust throat, right? If she ain't doing what she's supposed to do, your record's gonna tell her that. I have a 3-strike rule. If after the 3rd time I don't think you're adequate, I enjoy you, I will slaughter. And stew, curry, bake, roast, whatever. But I will eat you. That's the rule. And records show that. So if you are inconsistent, if when I check my records 1 month you gave me 7 kits, I'm good, nice, thing. The next month you gave 3, the next month you gave 5, the next month after that you only gave me 1. You're not gonna stay. I want consistency. That's something I look for, is consistency. I want something that I could bank on. I can say I get at least 5 rabbits. So if you give me 5 to 7 rabbits consistently, you're a keeper. Anything under 5 is not worth my time. That's where your records come in. I have more than one breeder. So to know which doe is producing what, I need my records to show that. Right? With your records, you'll also know when to butcher your rabbits. Because you would have recorded the day that your rabbits were kindled, you'll want to record the weight. So you'll check the weight before you butcher. Of course, you know you're looking for 5+ pounds. And you'll know, when you go back in your records, you'll know they are 3 months old. Right? Then you'll know, all right, they made 5 pounds in 3 months time. That's good genetics. You'll know, all right, so I want to keep that lineage in my hood, right? And you'll also know, okay, with your records, you'll know if you're writing it on a calendar. Okay, so you kindle today, in 3 months time I know it's to slaughter, so I'm going to write the date, expected date to slaughter. That's something you want to have in your records as well too. You keep records, put pen to paper so you know what is going on in your rabbitry. Keep stock of your inventory. It's very simple, a straightforward process. The records that you decide to keep may vary based on what you want to include. Keep records of what is happening in your rabbitry. It is important. And that's it. So stay tuned for the next video.
Party.
Yeah, my name is Anissa.
And I am John Del.